Hey, good afternoon. How you doing? All right. Welcome back. Welcome back to class. Welcome back to the continuation of our design introduction to graphics design using Adobe Illustrator class. So today we'll go back to our class guide. In our class guide, you can see that we have covered everything on top here, right? So we have been able to cover everything from using the interface, exploring the interface, choosing a workspace to use, opening a file, using the artboards, changing your view, zooming in and scrolling, and using tools and panels, exploring control panel as well, and then working with panels and dock. Like I said, going through Adobe Illustrator, introduction to Adobe Illustrator, there's also some key things that you repeat often, and that is why we use the shortcut keys. Shortcut key is very, very important. So today, for lesson 2, we've been going into learning the essential design skills using, we have started working our pen tool already, but today we'll be using the shape tool, repositioning positioning and resizing shapes, transformation tool, the transform panel, the constraining a shape,
entering exact dimensions,
and
selecting artwork, using the shape and transform tool, introducing layers, cutting and pasting objects, repeating transformation.
All right, that is exactly what we are diving into today, right? That's what we are diving into today. So using the shape tool, I'll go into my AutoCAD and I'll go ahead to, let's go back to the home, just like as if you are opening our AutoCAD for the first time. And then we'll go ahead to go to create new, and I'll open an A4 document, the landscape version. You already know how to do all these settings, so I'll just click on create, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we have 3 artboard. I don't need 3 artboard. If I want to delete any of the artboard that I have here, all I need to do is first, I can go into my artboard command here, right?
Yes, sir.
On my artboard panel here, it's showing me the 3 artboard that have been created. I can go to number 3 and punch on delete key, the delete icon that I have here, the waste bin here. It will delete that. I'll go to the artboard 2 again and I'll go punch on delete key. Now I only have 1 left. When I click on it, it will bring that artboard to center. Are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
Now talking about the shape tool. Shape tool is everything that we have inside this rectangle shape here. We have the rectangle tool, we have the ellipse tool, we have the polygon tool, we have the star tool, we have the line segment tool. And one of the elements of design is lines, right?
Yes, sir.
Lines is one of the elements of design. So using line, we can make a lot of designs just using lines, right? So using line, I'll start with the line segment. You can see that for every shape that we have here, some of them have this small letter in front of them that shows you the shortcut key in case you want to reuse them, right? Right? So I'll use the line segment now. I'll click once and then it will ask me something. Line segment to option. The length of the line that I'm trying to create, let me type 50 mm. What angle do I want the line? I want the line to be on 0. A full line, yes. And I'll click on OK. Can you see the line that I've created? This line is 50 mm on 0 angle, and then the full length is should be 50. That is what I selected the other time. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
I'll go back to that same line again. That line I created it using just clicking once, right? This other line I can click and drag. This is user defined. I will click and drag to create a line, either diagonally, either vertically, either horizontally. But to get a perfectly straight line, what do I need to do? I need whatever direction I'm going to, all I need to do is hold shift key. And when I hold shift key, you can see that I have perfectly straight line. Are you with me? If I want to go up, it will always be straight. If I want to go diagonally as well, it will always be straight. Are you with me? So if I want it to be diagonal, I'll click and then I'll be able to create this line. Are we good to go?
Yes,
line has a property. On this line that is currently selected on the workspace here, you can see that there is a fill of white, a stroke of
black.
Do we need a fill?
No.
because line does not have a fill. I'll go ahead, I can turn off the fill, and then we have the black outline. But there's a stroke. The stroke color is the one showing here. That means if I go ahead to my stroke width here, there's a stroke width here, I can increase the width from 1 point to what? 5 points, and it will become thicker. Do you get that?
Yes.
Alright, that's the first shape tool that we have there. I'm going to the next one called the star tool. If I want to create a star, I can click again. It will just ask me, what is the radius of the star you are trying to create? I'll go like, let the radius 1 be what? 10. Let the radius 2 be what? 18. And then how many points do I want on my star? Definitely 5. If I want to increase it, I can keep adding to it. Then that one is not the star again. This is what? An heptagon now. That is going to be what? Octagonal, right? It's going to be a polygon shape. So this one is heptagon now. Or let's do hexagon, and I'll click on what? Okay. What happens? Are you with me? 6 sides.
Yes, sir.
Are we good to go?
Yes.
So this is not a star. Definitely this is not a star. But if we needed a star, this is just another form of, should I say another form of a star? You understand? So I can keep it this way, and I feel like, okay, we have something going on, right? So that same way, if I want to create a star again, I can click again. How many stars do I want this? I just want a normal regular 5, right? And I click on what? Okay, and then my normal star is created. Are you with me? So if I need this design anywhere, it has been what? Created. This also does not have fill, but has a stroke. But I can add a fill to this one now because it's a star, right? There is a closed shape. If I want to add a fill to it, I'll just double click on that fill shape, and then I'll go and select a color and click, and then that fill color is being added. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
The same thing goes for if I want to create a star without using clicking, without using those precise. Using that settings there, that method. That means we are creating a precise shape. You understand? We enter the radius, we enter the length of the line and everything. That means we are creating design. We are creating the object, the shape, according to precision, precisely. If I want to create it just with free hand, what do? I just click and drag, right? Yes. This is free hand. This is free hand. This is user defined. I go ahead to, this is freehand design, so I just paste it. Okay, I'm okay here, and then I have the shape, right? Yes, so I can either create the shape clicking once and entering the diameters or the configurations, or I decide to what? Click and drag and just create it using my what? Visuals. So I'll go back again to the next tool that I have there, which is called the polygon. The polygon tool works just the same. When I click again, it will ask me, this polygon you are trying to create, what is the radius you are trying to work with? I'm working with the radius of what? 50. And then how many sides is this your polygon that you are trying to create? We have a lot of polygons. We can have as much as, I don't know, right? Yes, sir. I can decide to have 10, 20, whatever. Whatever I'm trying to create, I go to what? The number, the size that I want for the shape, and I click on what? Okay. And immediately, you can see the shape has been created with those number of what? Sides. Are you with me? Yes, sir. Do you get it? Yes, sir. All right. So to proceed further, if I want to create this manually, I'll just go to my polygon shape. Instead of, I'll just drag out, right? It will remember the previous setting. Then if I want to increase or reduce it, while I'm still dragging, I've not dropped it. So if I drop the design, it's going to show up. Can you see it's showing up? Yes, sir. So to use your polygon tool the right way, the same method works for all the shape. You can decide to what? Use a what? Dimension, a preset in mind. I'll select the polygon tool, click once on the workspace, it brings out this dialog box, the same thing that brought out for the line design for the star, and I'll decide to what? Just enter the radius if it's 30, and I'll enter the number of sides if it's what? Heptagon or hexagon. I'll make hexagon here, I'll click on what? Okay, and you can see the hexagon here. Are you with me? Yes, sir. So either that way, or I go ahead again, I go to my what? Polygon tool. On this my polygon tool, I just click and drag. Now the polygon has been created, yes or no? Yes, sir. Now, instead of clicking and whenever I'm satisfied, I can just drop the polygon shape and it will drop the shape. But if I want to increase or reduce the size while using my visuals for my designs, I'll click and drag. When I see that the polygon has been created, I will now use my top and bottom arrow on my keyboard to increase the number of sides. Can you see it's increasing? Or I decide to choose to what? Reduce the number of sides. Who is with me?
I'm with you, sir.
So I can decide to what? Reduce the number of sides or increase the number of sides, depending on whatever I'm trying to achieve. Are you with me? So whenever I'm satisfied to the number of sides that I'm trying to create, I'll just what? Drop the what? The polygon. And then the polygon is what? Created. Are we good to go? So now we can see that a lot is being created here. Right? The same thing goes for other shape. For circle, this ellipse shape, ellipse by default, when I click and drag, can you see I have a round shape? I have my ellipse. But to create a precise circle, a complete circle, what is it called? An equal circle. What I do is what I hold on Shift key, and then you can see that it scales the circle from both sides, and I have a complete circle. When I click and drop, and then the circle is being created. Who is with me? All right. So you can see that this works for everything. I'll Control A. I'll delete everything that I've created earlier. I'll go to the last but not the least, the rectangle tool. I can click on one of the angle. I specify the first corner. The second corner, I'm still dragging. I can decide to what? Drop it here. Do it this way. Whenever I'm satisfied with the rectangle I'm trying to create, I can drop it. That's the first method. The second method, whenever I click, it will ask me that what is the width of your rectangle. I'll be like 50, and then I want my height to be 60, or let's say 90. And I click on what? Enter, and you can see that that rectangle is being created for me. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
Right? Is this easy or is this difficult?
It's easy, sir.
So that's working with the shape tool, right?
Yes, sir.
So now with this shape tool, there are a lot of things that happen, right? I can decide. I showed you the stroke earlier, right? I can increase the stroke of the shape. Right?
Yes, sir.
If I increase the stroke of the shape, now you will see that under stroke that I have here, we have a lot of options. The first option on the list is what? The cap. Can you see cap? If I want to cap this my shape, you can see the first option that is currently on. This butt cap. Butt cap. You can see currently on butt cap. I'll change it to what? The next one called the what? What is the next one called? Round cap. When I click on round cap, can you see the difference on the design? Are you sure? This is the current. I'll go back to my stroke, and then it's currently on butt cap. I change it to what? Round cap. Do you see any difference? No difference. If I go to the next one called what? Projecting cap. Do you see any difference? All right. So now that's under what? Caps. I'll go to the next one called the what? Corners. Corners. The first option that we have is what? Mitre join. That's what is currently on at the moment, right? I'll change it from mitre join to what? Round join. Do you see any difference?
Yes, there's a difference.
There's a difference?
Yes.
All right. The next one that we have there is what? A bevel join. When I click on bevel join, do you see the difference?
Yes.
Do you see the difference?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So align stroke. Where do you want to align your stroke to? Currently is at the middle. Align stroke to center. You can see that's currently the option that we have currently on. I'll change it from align stroke to center. I'll go to align stroke inside. Can you see that?
Yes.
When I do it inside, can you see the difference?
Yes.
That's inside. I go to the next one called the what? Align stroke outside. Can you see the difference?
Yes,
Can you see the difference from inside?
sir.
Can you see the difference from outside? The main difference, the major difference that you can see there is, can you see the line that has your handles, your white handle? Check when I make it inside. Can you see that the white handle is outside while the stroke is what? Inside. When I make it outside, the white handle is inside while the stroke, the entire stroke is what? Outside. But this other one that is center, we have the handles at the center while the thickness is both inside and what? Outside. You get to understand the differences and the importance of this as you practice more, right?
Yes, sir.
So like I said, we have been able to discuss through the what? The shape tool. So when we talk about shapes, there are a lot of objects, there are a lot of command that works to what supports the shape, to help us adjust our shape, to make adjustment to shape. One of them is we have the transformation tool. Transformation tool is just, now that I have this shape at the center of my object here, if I decide to what? Make any adjustment to this shape, I can right click and then you see the word transform. What are the transformation I can do? The first one is move. Wow. So I can move this object. At what distance? I can move it horizontally at what? 50 distance. And I'll click on what? Okay. I can see it move at what? 50.
We can also drag too.
We could have dragged normally. That's using our visuals, right?
Yes, sir.
Using our visuals, we could have just moved this object from here to here, or move the object from here to here. But I'm talking about using your what? Transformation tool. When I have an object selected on the workspace, I'll right click. When I right click, I go down the list of the option menu here. There's a command called the what? Transform. When I enter the transform, we have the what? Move. When I go to move, it will ask me what distance should I move. Can you see the original position of the object?
Yes,
now it has moved it as what? 108 distance.
yes, sir.
Horizontally and what? Minus 11 vertically. You can see where it's currently at. If I also put a ruler here, you see that it has gone up a little bit. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now I don't want any vertical change. I'll just make this vertical change 0. And you'll see that it will come back down to that same level where it was before. Right?
Yes,
and I'll change this horizontal to what? 200. And then I'll click on what? Let's click on direction. Can you see it? Under direction, I want it to be at a degree of what? 45. Can you see the difference? Can you see that? If I want to create, if I click on OK, that means it will move the original object and make all those transformations to it. Right? If I don't want it to move the original object, see what's going to happen. I'll right click, I'll go to arrange, I'll go to transform rather, and I'll go to what? Move. But this time, after going through, I'll make my vertical, let's say I'm making the horizontal 0 this time. And my vertical, I'm making it, let's say, 150. 150, right?
Yes, sir.
And then I change the what? The angle. I want to change the angle to what? 30. Right?
Yes, sir.
When I make it 30, see where it's currently at. Now, instead of clicking on OK to adjust the original object, I'll click on what? Copy. Copy will leave the original file and just create a copy of that object with this parameter. When I click on what? Copy, it will leave the original and create a duplicate using that parameter that I have set. Normally, it's supposed to what? Move that object directly. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
That's the transformation tool. So we have a lot more command under the transformation tool that you should use, right? You should get acquainted with, right? But I don't want to really, I think you should, most of these things you are going to practice, we have exercise that I'll be assigning to you to do it, right? But let me just go ahead to explain the rest. After move, we have the rotate. If I want to rotate this shape, now all I need to do is what? Select the what? Rotate command. After I click on rotate, it's asking me what angle do you want to rotate this object to. I'll be like, please move it at what? Rotate it at what? 85, 80. Or let's make it so that's something 122. Right? 122, and I click on what? Preview. Can you see what's happening? When I check on preview, can you see? This is original state. This is the 120 that is rotating it to. And you can see that the rotation is using the reference of what? Center. Right?
Yes, sir.
The rotation is using the reference of what? Center. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
When I click on OK, it will rotate the original object. Are you with me? So if I don't want to rotate the original object, all I need to what? Go to transform, go to rotate. This time, I'll just click on what? Copy. And it will leave the original and just make a duplicate of that. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So now, you can see that we're making progress. Right?
Yes, sir.
I'll go ahead again. I'll go to the next command that we have there. The next command that we have there is alright, so now I'll go to my next command. The next command that we have there is I'll select a shape, I'll right click, I'll go to my transform. So under my transform, I have the next one called the what? Reflect. Reflect. You'll be like, reflect. What are we reflecting? Are we mirroring an object? Yes, that's exactly what we are doing. Because now there's an object on the list. If I go to my axis, we can do it either vertically or horizontally, or using an angle. At an angle, we can also do that. So if you are trying to do it horizontally this time, I'll go ahead and click on what? Make a copy of this horizontally. I'll click on what? OK. And you see that this object was being reflected. But because it is on a position, you are unable to really see the what? The effect. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Unlike, I'll select this object again, go to my word transform, I'll go to word reflect. This time, I'll make sure that it is what? I'll make sure that it is a what? Let's make it vertical. It's still the same thing, but let's make it at an angle this time. I'll use 35. And then I'll make sure, let's click on what? Okay. Can you see that? The object was reflected at an angle of what? 35. Right?
Yes, sir.
This is what will give you that full. What will help us to understand that correctly. I'll delete this, or I should just rotate this object. Let me remove the outline for this shape first, and then I'll go ahead to what? Duplicate this object. Let me bring the first one down. This is the center. I'll duplicate again, and I'll change the color of the first one. I'll make it something green. So you can see these two shapes, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll select the two of them. I'll go to right click, I'll go to what? Arrange. I'll go to what? Transform and what? Reflect. Can you see reflect vertically? Can you see that it switched the object, the color from both sides? The other time you are unable to see because it's just one single shape. It happened, but you didn't see the difference. But vertically, you see what we have here. I mean, horizontally rather, you see what the difference, right? It's switching it, flipping it, like it's flipping the object on the other side, right? If I want to do it at an angle, and I leave it at what? 45. And I click on what? Copy. Can you see what happens? Right?
Yes, sir.
So this way we have created this shape. I'll place this one too around this corner here. Who is with me?
Yes, sir.
Alright. So I'll go ahead. I'll leave this design here. The next one that I have there, I'll select the object again. I'll select the object there again, and I'll go ahead to right click. I'll go to transform. Now, apart from reflect, I'll go to what? Scale. When I want to scale an object, it will ask me, excuse me, sir, this object that you are trying to scale, are you doing a uniform scale, a non-uniform scale, horizontally, or just vertically? You understand? A uniform scale will scale both horizontally and vertically at the same percentage, right? Or it will use the corner, right?
Yes, sir.
It will use the what? You can also set the options where you should scale from, right?
Yes, sir.
So these are different options that we have, and then I'll use the first one called the uniform scale. The uniform scale, it will scale 100% everywhere, but I want it to do, I'll change the percentage to, let's say, 200. That means 2 times of what we have. Currently it is 100%, right? Currently you saw that it is 100%.
Yes, sir.
And I change it to 200. That means it will give me double of that, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll go to what? Okay. You can see that it gave me double of the shape. Ctrl Z. I'll go to right click again, go to my word transform, and then go to what? Scale. This time you see that it's 100. I want to make it 50. That means it's going to give me half. Decrease the size of the shape. Can you see that? Are we good to go?
Good to go.
All right. So I'll go ahead again, right click again, go to my word transform, and then go to my scale again, and I'll go to non-uniform scale. This time I'm making the horizontal scale by what? 50. I'm making the vertical scale by what? 200. Do you see the difference?
Yes, sir.
That's non-uniform what? Scaling. Meanwhile, this object, if you wanted to scale it before, you can actually hold on your what? Scale. You can hold on your direction to and scale it however you want it before. Are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
So these are different methods of scaling using our what? Transformation tool. Now, still on that transformation tool, the last one on the list. This is your assignment share. I'll give you this as an assignment. On your own, go to Google or go to on YouTube, search for how to use share on what? Adobe Illustrator. If I'm teaching you all the two, you understand,
yes.
and I'll be like, do you understand? It is easy to say yes, I understand. But whenever you go on the background on your own time to learn on your own time, you understand, to learn a particular tool and be like, what is this tool used for? And you browse it out and you see the process of how to use it, and you go and try it out, and you see that okay, it's actually working. You understand? That is when you actually learn. Do you get it? So I'm giving you that as what? An assignment. You go and learn how to use the share command, and then you use it in class the next day. Right?
Yes, sir.
in our next class, you show me how to use it. The next one that I have here, the transform ish. This one uses a general template, a bigger template compared to what we have been seeing before, right? This one would create a custom shape for us, and it's very, very interesting. You understand? Should I explain this? Should I explain this? Should I explain this? Should I explain it?
Yes, sir.
Or should you the assignment?
No, explain this.
All right. So you can see that we have both scale, we have move, we have rotate, all in one on this object that we have here. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
If I decide to scale an object, this object that is here, I can decide to what? I can drag the bar here and to scale it up. Right? Can you see that? I can decide to move this object and I will what? Be able to move it. Can you see that? I can decide to rotate this object and I'll just drag this clock icon and drag it around. I can see that it's rotating accordingly. Are you with me?
Yes.
I can decide to what? What I'm transforming now is what? The transform object, transform pattern, transform stroke as well. These are the things that is being affected by anything that I set here. Also, the parameter also shows, if I want to rotate now, as I'm rotating now, do you see that it's from the center of the shape?
Yes.
It's rotating with reference to this dot, where we have the dot at the center. Can you see the center here?
Yes, sir.
This center that is here, that is the center of the shape that is here, and it is rotating using that point as an what? Origin. Right? If I want to change that origin from that point, I'll go ahead to this point here. I'll go to this corner here. Right?
Yes, sir.
And now when I rotate, let's see the difference here. Can you see that? It's rotating using what? That end. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
You didn't get it though, but there's a practical that will help us achieve this. I'll click on copy and I'll do this. Now, have we been able to do something so far?
Yes, sir.
Do you even understand what we have been working on?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So what I want us to do now is very, very simple. Alright? I'll create something like a clock. I'll go ahead to create a shape called the word circle. I'll drop the word circle at the center here. I don't want any color, I just want one single color, fill color. I'll go to center. Did you get what I've just done? Let me delete this shape. I don't think you got it because the way you are looking is crazy. I'll go ahead to create a small shape. Can you see a circle that I've created now?
Yes, sir.
This circle that is here at the moment, I want to center it on this workspace. There's something called align. Can you see a panel here? This panel is called align panel. I'll go ahead to bring this panel out. Why is it not coming out? Okay, I can do that from Windows. I'll go towards align. Where is align? Remove it from there. Go back to Windows. Where's align? There's my view, Windows. Where's align? This is the align command. I want to bring you out. Yeah. Can you see all the different alignment that we can do for our design here? When this object is currently selected, I can go to align to the left. Can you see it goes to the left of the artboard? I can go to align to center. Can you see it come to the center of the artboard? I can go to align to the right. It will go to the right. Right?
Yes, sir.
But I want this object at the center of this shape, this box that I have here. I'll go to center. Are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
So that's what I want to do, and that's what I've done. So now that I have this object here, I want to create a shape. I'll go ahead to create a star this time. I'll place a star. Can you see I'm tracking from the center of the shape? And whenever I see the center, that's when I create my star. Now I've created this star shape. Can you see my star shape?
Yes, sir.
What I want to do is one simple edit. This shape, I can make it the red color that we had earlier, so we can see the difference between the two. Now that I have this shape here, now I want this circle. I want this star to go around this shape here. How do I do that? To make that circle go, like I want to create that circle as a pattern around this shape, I can simply start copying one after the other. I can hold on my Alt key and start doing this. Right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect, right?
Yes, sir.
It's perfect. This is wrong. This way, is the spacing between the stars equal?
No.
I'm just using my visuals to create this. But to create this in a more professional way, like a pro will do it, the way we do it is this. I'll go ahead. That is what the transformation tool is used for. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I'll select. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
I'll select these two shapes. After selecting these two shapes together, the star and this circle, I'll go ahead to right click. I'll go to what? Transform. I'll go to what? Transform each, and it will bring out this dialog box. What is the error that we've done here? We don't want all the settings that have been done. We bring this back to what? The center, which is what? 100. We'll go back to what? 100 on here. Sorry, Ctrl Z. Go back to my what? Transform. Because we have the last time we used this tool, it was on 100, right? 100. Have you given it to him? Have you printed one? Just print one and show him first. That is okay. Abishe, are you sure of the correction that you made? I want remember to already listing. I'm not going to I can waste paper. Go and give it to him first. Let him go and check. Let him cross-check by himself now. Print one and give it to him. I'm recording. All right. So now I'm returning everything back to default, right? I want to bring everything back to this center. The center of this one, it should be around what? 0, right? This one should be 0. Let me just make it 0. Bring this guy down to what? Select again 0. Can you see I'm returning it back to, I want to return everything back to the way it's supposed to be. This one angle is what? 0 as well. And then it's now back to where it's supposed to be. Is it back to where it's supposed to be now?
Yes, sir.
Alright, now. And I want to start making these changes one after the other. This rotation, what I want to do is just rotate, right? I want to go to what? Rotate this object, but I want it to rotate from. If I go from this corner now, it will start rotating the object using that corner reference. If I go to rotate at what degree of what? Let me use 15. Right?
Yes, sir.
I click on 15 and I click on what? Let's see the difference. Can you see it has rotated the object? But it has moved the circle. I don't want that because can you see the reference on this line here? What I want as a reference is center. Are you with me? As center. So when I click on center, let me make it 30 so that we'll see the difference between the two. So I'll go to 30 and let's see the difference. Let's go to the preview, 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 preview. What is happening is only the star that is rotating. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
It is only the star that is rotating. It is rotating both of the shape independently. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Is this what we want?
No.
Thank you. Now, to create exactly what we want, I will go ahead to make sure that I'll cancel this shape and I'll go ahead to use my rotate tool. When I want to use my rotate tool again, separately this time I can click on R. When I click on R, I'll select the shape I want to rotate first. Let's click on the shape. This is the star that I'm trying to rotate. And I click on R on my keyboard. When I click on R, R is for rotate. Right? You can see now, immediately I click on R, can you see that there's a center around the circle, around the star? Can you see that center shape that is around the star?
Yes, sir.
Let me go to escape. Let me go back to another tool. Now it is selected. Is it showing? No. But when I click on R on my keyboard, can you see that there's something that has just appeared at the center of the star? Yes. Let me zoom in clearly so that we'll see it. Can you see that? This, what we have here, I want it to be, it is currently at the center of the star. If I rotate it now, it will only be the star that is rotating. But I want to make sure that the center is what around this what? This is my circle here, the circle that I've created here. Are you with me? I want it to be around this circle. Now that I've gotten the center of this circle, can you see showing center for my circle, that purple right up that we have at the center of the circle? If I go to, I'll now hold on my Alt key and click on that center. When I click on that center, it takes that center of the circle as a reference point, right? So whatever I enter now is going to be the what? The angle I'm trying to rotate at. Let me go to 15. Let me preview. Can you see this? Can you see that? This is the original, and this is what the new star is going to give me. This time I will not click on OK because it's going to move the original. I want to click on what? Copy. When I click on copy, can you see a duplicate is being created? Sir! So do you get the gist? We have been able to create a duplicate, but you can see there is an intersection of these two stars. And I don't want that. I'll go to Ctrl Z. I'll go to Ctrl Z again. Now I have the original design. I'll go to R again. You can see that it's at the center. What do I want to do? I want to make sure that I use my mouse to locate the center of my circle here. And then I find the center, I hold on my Alt key again, and I click at the center. Now I want this angle to be at what? Let's say 30. Right? And I'll preview it to the original. Are you there? I'll click on copy. Now you can see that there's a duplicate that has been done. Right? That's control. That's a duplicate of the star. I cannot click on what? Control D to duplicate, and to continue to create that star for me at that distance that has been created earlier. Are you with me? That way you can see that the stars that have been created is around what? Aligns with the shape. The distance that is on the first one is what we have on the second one as well. Are you with me? This is just what? A simple way of using transformation tool. The one we have just used here, just rotate and then just continue repeating across the words. You can see that this feels symmetrical. It feels like the space that is here is exactly what we have here, compared to what we are doing here right now. Right? Alright, so now there's a lot that can be done. Especially when it comes to creating patterns like this. We have automatic on one that immediately you are changing settings in one, is affecting the rest. Are you with me? So we'll get there definitely. But do you get the gist of what this is all about?
Yes.
Alright. So this is where we are at the moment. I'd like you to practice on some things. I want you to go ahead and use the transformation tool, because the discussion that we've been having so far is around what? Using the shape tool, repositioning our object and what? Scaling the object size, right? We have done the sizing and the likes. We want to scale the object, right? We have the transformation panel itself, right? We have the constraining shape. We want to constrain a shape, we get there, extracting what? Entering exact diameter. That is why we click. Whenever I want to create a line, we click so as to bring out that dialog box. You can enter the length of the line you are trying to create. So selecting what? Artwork. We also have this, and then we have what? Using the shape and then the transformation tool. So all these are what we are trying to cover in this discussion for today. Right? You can see that we mentioned a few. If I were to go ahead and then let me highlight the ones that we've done. After we've done entering the exact amount, right? The positioning and scaling the shape. We've done the transformation panel. We have done using the shape tool. We've done constraining object. I will go back on that. So using the shape and transformation tool, yes. And then we have introducing the layers. We will explain that cutting and pasting objects. We've not done that. And then repeating transformation is what we did around that
with
the star. So let's go ahead. There are still some things where you need to touch around here. So, well, basically, I want you to practice first. Let me make this. What color? There's a country that has stars around it. What's the name of the country? What's the color of this country itself? France. Come on. All right. Let's stop here.